Top 10 Scary Urban Legends, or welcome if you're new. We are your hosts, Michaela
and Andrew, and today we are going to talk about the top 10 scary urban legends that were proven to be true. Coming at number 10, we have the No-Face Charlie. If you grew up in the 1950s or in the 60s in western Pennsylvania, chances are you've heard of the legend of the Green Man or No-Face Charlie. The legend says that No-Face Charlie would stalk the remote streets at night and sometimes would chase others away from him. No disrespect, but if I saw him at night, I would definitely be running the other way. No-Face Charlie was actually based on a real man named Raymond Robinson. His story is pretty tragic, so listen up. In 1919, Robinson was only 8 years old when he was reaching for a bird's nest at the top of an electrical pole when he was suddenly struck by 11,000 volts of electricity. He was severely injured. His nose, his lips, ears, and eyes were all gone or misshapen. And on top of that, one of his hands were completely blown off. This is what gave him this image that appears haunting for others. Raymond was in fact a really kind and friendly individual, but others feared him and would give him this negative stigma regardless of how he really is on the inside. He has now since passed away, and I hope he is finally accepted.
Number 9, werewolves. You might think of werewolf stories as something only told for fun around the campfire, but that hasn't always been the case. People truly believed in the existence of these creatures. In fact, in the 16th and 17th centuries in Europe, werewolf trials accompanied witch trials. It's even more surprising to note that the amount of people who confessed to being werewolves. Some were likely tortured into confession, but others believed that they were real werewolves. The idea that a human could transform into an animal was quite popular, and people thought that they could make a deal with the devil in order to gain that power. In the 1500s, a French tailor was convicted in luring in, torturing, and slaying his victims before cooking and having them for dinner. He was also accused of turning into a werewolf to terrorize the town at night. Although there was no exact victim count, he was believed to have taken dozens of lives. The tailor made no attempt to defend himself. Instead, he cursed until his last breath when he was burned at the stake. The court was apparently so shocked by his evil acts that the court burned the documents too.
You missed me, because at our number 8 spot we have Candyman. This is a cautionary tale for kids not to dig right into their Halloween candy. He is the sole reason why we have to take extra precaution before eating anything. The legend differs depending on who you ask. In one legend, it's said that if you say his name 5 times, he will appear behind you and take your life with his hook. In another legend, he poisons and puts other hazardous items inside of children's candies. The truth of this urban legend is revealed in many different stories, so the narrative changes. They say that many years ago, Candyman was a black slave named Daniel Robitaille. He was a talented painter and decided to paint a picture for the plantation owner's daughter, in whom he fell madly in love with. When the owner found out, he brought all of his racist friends to hunt him down. They would eventually get to him and cut off his hand, which explains his hook for a hand. In another iteration, Candyman was a man named Ronald Clark O'Brien. This man was convicted of killing his 8-year-old son with potassium cyanide laced pixie sticks, all because he wanted some insurance money. What a joke. On his execution day, people even chanted "trick or treat" outside of the room he died in.
Now at number 7, cropsy.
For years, kids living and around Staten Island raised goosebumps with the tale of Cropsy, a boogeyman who lived in the woods and made a nighttime routine of hurting children. Parents would ease their kids' fears by telling them it wasn't real and it was just a myth. I always heard of the boogeyman growing up, and it always terrified me, but thank God he's not real.
But he was.
What?
Yeah. In 1987, Andre Rand was put on trial and convicted for child abduction. It turned out he may have been connected to a bunch of children's disappearances in the 1970s. Andre had once worked at Willowbrook, which was a mental institution. He denies he had any involvement in other cases, but it's clear his activities had a heavy influence on the stories that followed.
At our 6th spot, we have snake in a toilet bowl. A fear of snakes is among the oldest of all humankind's basic fears, so this urban legend is almost based on our own instincts. Have you ever seen those videos or those movies that show a person doing their business on the toilet when all of a sudden they get attacked from below? The reason why this situation is terrifying for some is because of how vulnerable we feel in the bathroom. Like, the very last thing I would expect when I'm doing my duty is for any sort of confrontation, and even more so with a snake. Back in the past, toilets were typically outdoor, which caused them to be riddled by ants, spiders, centipedes, and all other stinging creatures. If you have a bathroom inside, don't count yourself lucky, because in Australia, 2 different several-foot long pythons were found in home toilets, and in one case, a man's reproductive organs were even bitten. Right in the hump of our list, we have a corpse in the water tank. In popular TV show How to Get Away with Murder and horror movie Dark Water, they both showed a specific scenario where someone would move into a new apartment and their tap water is discolored and tastes funny. In the end, they will discover the reason being is a deceased body. Except this situation really happened. In 2013, after residents of an LA hotel started to complain about their tap water, they soon discovered the body of 21-year-old Elisa Lam. Her passing remains an unsolved mystery to this day, but strange surveillance footage showed her acting odd inside of an elevator. She would be looking out as if someone was just following her and just tracking her down. After an investigation and a documentary, it was discovered that she did it intentionally, which makes this case even more sad.
Now at number 4, Bunny Man. Bunny Man is a guy from Virginia who dresses up as a rabbit and slaughters people with an axe. There's even an entire bridge named after him. Some say Bunny Man is an escaped convict who goes around Virginia mutilating rabbits and hanging them on Bunny Man Bridge. And the bodies of rabbits are said to show up around Halloween. This story likely came from the very real presence of a roaming madman in the area. In October 1970, a couple reported seeing a man dressed in a white suit and wearing bunny ears who began yelling at them that they were on private property. To make his point crystal clear, he threw a hatchet at their window, shattering it. There was a second sighting of Bunny Man 2 weeks later, when a security guard spotted a hatchet-wielding man chipping away at a porch railing. Police tried to get him, but they were unsuccessful finding the man.
All the way at our number 3 spot, we have a person under our bed. As I was a kid, I always was so scared of looking underneath my bed. I just always felt that something was just there. I could almost feel it.
Did you sleep with the nightlight on?
What?
Did you sleep with the nightlight on?
What? No, I'm a man. What?
Okay. Did you know many kids feel this way? Because movies and shows always depict ghosts and monsters coming from under our bed. It just seemed like something was always hiding itself down there. And it finally came true on July 10th, 2003. A man checked into Capri Motel just east of downtown Kansas City and began complaining about a foul odor in his room. Management said they couldn't do anything, so he spent 3 days in the room until he had enough. He finally decided to check out due to the horrid smell, and upon discovering, staff of the hotel discovered a man's body underneath the mattress in an advanced stage of decomposition. Now at number 2, candy razor blades. So you all remember when you were kids and went trick-or-treating and your parents had to check your candy for razor blades, but we all just thought that they wanted to take some of it. Well, the story of razor blades being in Halloween candy is true. In Ohio, one Halloween night, a child was sorting through their Halloween candy when they cut their finger from a blade in the candy bag. They went to the hospital for stitches and no one else was injured. The blade was hidden inside the wrapper of the candy bar. That same night in Waterbury, Connecticut, police arrested a man after razor blades were found in the bottom of 2 trick-or-treaters' candy bags. And now coming in at number 1, swallowing spiders. Bugs are gross enough when we're awake, but the things they can do to us when we're asleep and defenseless is a whole different kind of disturbing. Thankfully, the widely spread fact that we're all regularly swallowing spiders in our sleep isn't true. But bugs can squirm their way into other places, like your brain. A woman ended up with an insect in her head, but it wasn't from anything she ate or did. The woman woke up to a tingling and crawling sensation in her nose and assumed she was just getting a cold. But then she started to feel like her eyes were burning. After multiple visits to 4 different doctors, they found out that a fully grown cockroach had taken up residence in the base of her skull near her brain between her eyes.
Well, there we have it, the top 10 scary urban legends that were proven to be true.
I personally thought that the swallowing spiders one was the scariest.
I think the corpse in the water one was the scariest.
Yeah, that one was pretty gross too. But let us know what you guys thought in the comments below.
And make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. And have a scary day.